CCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Our conversation with the Superintendent of the River Valley School District, Philip Martell, presented by Marcus and Mack, voted Best Law Firm and Best Personal Injury Lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. Mr. Martell, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It's good to have you on the air with us here today. Of course, after the lawsuit was filed, we have questions, and many of them. And I want to start out this morning by asking you why the school district felt the lawsuit was the best way to go about pursuing the separation with ICTC. Was it just a case of exhausting all opportunities otherwise?
You know, we did. And that was the thing. We tried to have a conversation and do this in an amicable way without going down this path. But unfortunately, we didn't get there. So we had no real choice but to do this to move forward.
Of course, River Valley is a part owner of ICTC, one of the founding institutions in the compact. And in your statement yesterday, one of the things that was put out was the idea that no contract is forever. Could you develop that thought for us and tell us the thinking behind that one, why this particular contract you felt had run its course?
Well, because it's real simple, and no one's in fault as far as the funding formula and how it takes so long to relieve districts of, after your enrollment decreases. But I mean, Pennsylvania law is really clear. I mean, you can just not have an open-ended contract forever. Boards change, governors change, everything could change. So you can't just say somebody's going to have to live there or do something forever. All we wanted was a clean break to walk away, and with them as well. And that's all we were searching for at the end of the day. And unfortunately, we couldn't get there, and now we had to go to court to help that along in a sense. But just think about the logic behind it. You can't say that you're going to be in a contract for 50 years. There's no such language there, to determine that.
River Valley, of course, being a founding member, has been a full participant with ICTC for a lot of years. There was a meeting earlier this year at which some of the school directors who were there said that River Valley has basically opted out of meetings this year and has not been present for many of them, and is it discouraging its students from attending ICTC? Address that, if you would.
Sure. No, we will not deny any student a pathway to whatever that pathway may be. It could be to one of their programs, to a program somewhere else. We made our counselors available for them. Our counselors, promoted ICTC. That's really just a bogus claim. And I questioned that before, why it would come up. But I'm not going to send sixth graders up there next year when we're not even going to be a part of it. So that was the only time we kind of said, let's just wait and see what happens.
A school board member contacted us and said they were not informed that this was actually going to happen, this lawsuit was going to happen. And at board meetings, the discussion for River Valley have been very, very pointed. And earlier, Rick Harper, the school board president, said that they would very much endorse a legal action to separate River Valley from ICTC. That being the case, is the school board completely on board with this?
Yeah, they authorized our solicitor to go forward and do this. And they knew this. And so that's actually another bogus claim. And if not, their attorney representing the other districts is not telling them the truth then. But our attorney was in contact with him by the end of August telling him, hey, let's see if we can get this resolved. If not, we're going to go here and we're going to have to file by the end of September. And that's what we did. Like, he was fully straight with their attorney. I don't know what the other school's attorney, Mr. Weiss, told them. So I'm not privy, obviously, to that. But I know we were fully in communication with our attorney, with Mr. Weiss. Mr. Cribbs contacted Mr. Weiss and told him exactly what we were doing after the board authorized him to do that.
STEAM Academy is obviously a big part of this whole discussion. Several of your programs, state approved at ICTC, or rather at the STEAM Academy, are programs that do exist, maybe with another name, but they do exist at ICTC. So the question is, what about the duplication of programs from one school to the next? And why couldn't that have been something that was worked into the whole formula where ICTC has several programs, STEAM Academy has several programs, and there's no cross there?
We attempted to get on that pathway, Todd, and I'll use this as an example. When we started the STEAM Academy, the electrical occupations program did not exist at ICTC. So we felt, okay, we'll bring that back to the county. It hasn't been here for 6 years, and then students can just come there. And I had that conversation. All of a sudden now, because we did that, ICTC creates new electrical occupations. And I had said to them, why would you do that? Create a program that neither one of us have, so then students have another opportunity to do that. Now, the second part of that, our board decides to create a welding program. There were no open welding slots in the state of Pennsylvania. So our board decided to invest $2 million into a new welding lab. We have 34 River Valley students in welding alone in our program at the STEAM Academy. Now, you tell me there's not a need there. But then now, so instead of sending the other kids from other schools that can't get into welding at ICTC to us, let's go create another welding lab. It's just, to me, they're playing catch-up. And that's not my decision, obviously, but we're going to move forward and do what we think is in the best interest of our kids. But those are two examples where we were not, at fault for the duplication. They could have easily said, we're going to start something else. Anybody that wants electrical can go to you. That didn't happen.
Philip Martell, our guest this morning, Valley Superintendent, the school district having sued the Indiana County Technology Center in an effort to separate River Valley from ICTC and go their separate ways. In terms of taxpayers and tax burdens, your contention in your statement yesterday was that ICTC has a healthy budget surplus, and this is not going to be meaningfully harmful to ICTC without River Valley in the compact. Explain that.
Well, two areas. I mean, one, they're looking at a building project. They have a surplus that they want to address and put towards that building project. Two, they overspend in the adult education area. They're actually not meeting legal limits in the adult education area. So if they actually take that money and redistribute it back into their programs, that could offset some of the costs of us leaving. Those are the things they need to address. And really, quite frankly, some of the board members from other districts need to question why those two things are happening. If you don't have the money to do something, you don't spend it. And that's the problem here. They could take that money, redistribute it back in to offset some of those tuition costs for the other districts. But in the same sense, what I'm hearing from the other districts is we want to be able to send more kids there, but they can't get into programs. Well, you can't have it both ways. You're worried about, losing money from us dropping out, and you still want to send kids. To me, that's being hypocritical. Like, you either want to send students on a career pathway, no matter where that is, where zip codes don't matter, Todd, or you don't. So what is it?
Philip Martell with us this morning. Thank you for joining us to talk about the lawsuit filed by ICTC, or rather by River Valley, against ICTC. A part of that lawsuit as well seeks not only for the separation, but also seeks for, or demands, maybe that is a better way to put it, demands that ICTC either sell its property or reimburse River Valley for its share of the value of that property. Could you talk about that for us?
Well, obviously, being one of the founding members, we have a vested interest. So we have to protect our taxpayers. And at some point, I'm hoping that we just come to a solution that says it's a clean break. We walk away, they walk away, and it doesn't have to get to that point, because that's the last thing we want to do. But we also, in the same sense, have to put it in there to protect our taxpayers, because we do own a portion of that. But do we want to go there? No. But at the end of the day, if we have to fight to separate this, to protect our taxpayers and our community, that's what we're going to do.
The Memorandum of Understanding with the Indiana Area School District is another issue that a lot of folks were confused about. Obviously, Indiana Area decided against that Memorandum of Understanding, and yet your school board then went and they passed it. And it seemed to the public, at least, and to folks in the Indiana Area District, that you were passing something that they had already rejected. That was very confusing from us, from the outside looking in. What's the insider's look at that? There was
some confusion, and I talked to Rob Heinrich, the superintendent, and accepted responsibility. I thought they were under the understanding what we were too. So there was some miscommunication there, which, like I said, I'll take responsibility for. We've since talked, met a couple times since then. we want to move forward. We want to partner with other districts. And Indiana is one of them. And it's the same thing. If they decide to go down this path and start a different program that's not available to our students, we would welcome the idea to send our students that would be interested there. That's what I'm saying. There shouldn't be zip code barriers anymore in public education, and that's what's happening now. And unfortunately, it comes back to the funding formula. And that's not ICTC fault or any other school in the county, Todd. The state has to change the way we fund schools and really let money flow and follow the student. It really does. But we're locked in, and then really at the end of the day, everybody's worried about losing that tuition rate. And that's unfortunate, and I said that's not anyone's particular fault. We need legislative action on a school code, and we need it now.
Of course, legislative action takes a long time to happen and is very, very sketchy as to whether or not something will actually get done. It's usually in a matter of years. This is a matter right now, though, that you have filed the lawsuit. Do you anticipate that there will be talks on a settlement, or do you think this one goes into court and it's battled out between the attorneys?
Because at the end of the day, the only one that benefits is the attorneys, right? I hope that we can have communication, but as I said, we've attempted to do that. If not, unfortunately, it's going to end up in the courts to have to make that decision, and we'll see which legal argument benefits. But I'd love to just say, okay, we're going to make a clean break here and go from there. But if that's not possible, as I said, we have to protect our taxpayers and what's going on now.
Philip Martell, thank you for joining us here this morning. Anything else that I did not ask you that you want to clarify from the River Valley standpoint?
No, I appreciate you taking the time and letting me come on the program. As always, you're an honorable gentleman, and it means a lot.
Well, I appreciate your time with us here this morning on Indiana in the Morning. Have a wonderful day today.
You too, Todd. Take care.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.